Lesson 9. Space Programs and Agencies. NASA. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, is the United States' primary space exploration and research agency. Established on July 29, 1958, NASA has been at the forefront of scientific discovery and technological advancements in space exploration. NASA's mission is to pioneer the future in space exploration and scientific discovery and aeronautic research. The agency's goals include expanding human knowledge of space, advancing technology for space exploration, and inspiring the next generation of scientists, engineers, and explorers. The Apollo moon missions, NASA's Apollo program, achieved the historic feat of landing humans on the moon, with the first manned landing in 1969. NASA has been a key partner in the development and operation of the International Space Station, a multinational space laboratory and platform for scientific research. NASA has successfully sent a series of robotic missions to Mars, including rovers such as the Sojourner, Spirit, Opportunity, Curiosity and Perseverance, to study the planet's geology, climate and potential for past or present life. NASA's Hubble Space Telescope has revolutionized our understanding of the universe by capturing stunning images and providing valuable data on distant galaxies, stars and other celestial objects. NASA's Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 spacecraft have explored the outer reaches of our solar system and are now in interstellar space, providing valuable data about the space between the stars. NASA has developed various launch systems, including the Saturn V rocket used in the Apollo program and the Space Shuttle, which operated from 1981 to 2011. Currently, NASA is utilising the Space Launch System, the SLS, a powerful rocket designed for deep space exploration, including crewed missions to the Moon and eventually Mars. NASA conducts extensive research in areas such as astrophysics, hydrophysics, earth science, planetary science and aeronautics. The agency fosters innovation through investments in technology development, including spacecraft, instruments and robotics to advance space exploration and capabilities. NASA collaborates with international partners, including space agencies from other countries, to jointly undertake missions and share resources, knowledge and scientific data. Notable collaborations between the International Space Station, Joint Mars Mission and European Space Agency, and partnerships for the satellite launches and scientific research. NASA is committed to inspiring and engaging the public, particularly students, in science, technology, engineering and mathematics, STEM education. The agency conducts various educational programs, competitions and initiatives to promote STEM education and inspire the next generation of scientists and engineers. NASA has set ambitious goals for future exploration, including returning humans to the Moon through the Artemis program, which plans for sustainable lunar exploration and eventual crewed missions to Mars. The agency also aims to study other celestial bodies, such as asteroids and Jupiter's moon Europa, to expand our understanding of the solar system and the search for signs of life. The Soviet Space Program. The USSR had its own space exploration program called the Soviet Space Program. The main organisation responsible for the Soviet space activities was the Soviet Space Agency, known as the State Committee for Defence Technology, later renamed the Ministry of General Machine Building. In 1965, the Soviet space program achieved several significant milestones, including Sputnik. On October 4, 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the world's first artificial satellite, into orbit around the Earth. The historic achievement marked the beginning of the space age. On April 12, 1961, Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first human to orbit the Earth aboard the Vostok 1 spacecraft. This milestone made Gagarin an international hero and demonstrated the USSR's early lead in human spaceflight. The Soviet Union launched a series of manned lunar missions as part of the lunar program. Luna 2 became the first human-made object to reach the moon's surface in 1959, and Luna 3 captured the first images of the moon's far side in 1959. The Venera program consisted of a series of missions to Venus. The Venera 7 spacecraft successfully landed on Venus in 1970, becoming the first spacecraft to transmit data from the surface of another planet. The Soyuz spacecraft, developed by the Soviet Union, has been the workhorse of their human spaceflight program. It has been used for crewed missions to space stations, including the Soviet-Russian space stations, as well as the International Space Station. The Mir space station, launched in 1986, was a major achievement of the Soviet space program. It operated for over 15 years and served as a platform for various scientific experiments and long-duration space missions. The Soviet Union developed its own version of a reusable space shuttle called the Buran. It made its first and only flight in 1988, completing an unmanned orbital mission. It's important to note that the Soviet space program was highly secretive during the Cold War, and many details about their missions and technologies were not revealed until after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Nevertheless, the Soviet space program made significant contributions to space exploration, human spaceflight, and scientific research during its existence. The Apollo missions. The Apollo missions were a series of manned space flights conducted by NASA between 1961 and 1972. The goal of the Apollo program was to land humans on the moon and return them safely to Earth. Here's an overview of the Apollo missions. Apollo 1. Apollo 1 was intended to be the first manned mission of the Apollo program. However, on January 27, 1967, a fire broke out in the command module during a ground test, resulting in the deaths of astronauts Gus Grissom, Ed White and Roger Chaffee. The mission was subsequently renamed Apollo 1 in their honour. Apollo 7. Apollo 7 was the first manned mission of the Apollo program. It was launched on October 11, 1968, and orbited the Earth for 11 days. The primary objective of the mission was to test the Apollo Command and Service Module in space. Apollo 8. Apollo 8 was the first manned mission to orbit the Moon. Launched on December 21, 1968, it carried astronauts Frank Borman, James Lovell and William Anders. The crew completed 10 orbits around the Moon and captured the iconic Earthrise photograph. Apollo 8 was a crucial step towards the goal of the lunar landing. Apollo 9. Apollo 9 was an Earth orbit mission launched on March 3, 1969. The crew, consisting of astronauts James McDivitt, David Scott and Russell Skuverick, tested the lunar module in Earth orbit for the first time. They performed a spacewalk and rendezvoused and docked with the lunar module. Apollo 10. Apollo 10 was a dress rehearsal for the lunar landing. Launched on May 8, 1969, it carried astronauts Thomas Stafford, John Young and Eugene Cernan. The mission tested all aspects of the lunar landing except for the actual landing itself. The lunar module descended to within 8.4 nautical miles of the lunar surface. Apollo 11. Apollo 11 achieved the historic first manned lunar landing. Launched on July 16, 1969, it carried astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins. On July 20, Armstrong and Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the Moon, while Collins orbited above. Armstrong famously declared, "That's one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind." Apollos 12 to 17. Apollo missions 12 to 17 followed a similar pattern, with each mission consisting of lunar landing and exploration. The missions continue to gather scientific data and expand our understanding of the Moon. Apollo 17, launched on December 7, 1972, was the final manned mission to the Moon. In total, 6 Apollo missions successfully landed astronauts on the moon, for a total of 12 astronauts walking on its surface. The Apollo program was a remarkable achievement in human space exploration and represented a significant milestone in the history of spaceflight.